And a great big hello on this Saturday night here and Sunday afternoon in New Zealand. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, and countrymen, give us both of your ears tonight. So whether you're down the street, around the corner, across America, or somewhere around this great big world, thank you for taking the time to spend it with us on Saturday night. We have us a two-parter tonight. We have a whole bunch of people here, and we're going to have some fun. I'll bet you we laugh a few times. And with all the problems, the chaos, the confusion, and perhaps you're going through some deep, deep valleys right now, I hope that we can put a smile on your face and you can just forget about your problems for a few moments. And then, after this live tonight with these gentlemen and this beautiful young lady, we're heading for the radio and we're going to unleash. We're going to tear the cover off of it. We're going to turn this album loose here in America. We are excited. We're honored to be part of this. And Ed Temple out of Columbus, Ohio, my co-host. How you doing, my old buddy?
Well, you didn't call me any names, right?
Here it comes. Listen, guys. Here it comes. I don't know what's coming, but it's coming.
Well, I mean, I think you've really let me step up. I mean, you called me buddy, and you usually call me something like sidekick, piece of garbage, something like that. So I have stepped up. I appreciate it, George.
No problem. No problem.
No, you notice how important I am. It's the George Espenlaub Show. You didn't see my name on there, now do you?
And?
That would tell you. I'm a sidekick. Come on. And it's okay. I'm okay with it.
That's good. I'm glad.
I cry myself to sleep, but other than that, I'm okay with it.
I'm good. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm happy for you.
Appreciate it.
Now, the rose amongst all the thorns. Tracey Chirhart out of Denver, Colorado. Tracey, my friend, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
You're probably sitting there thinking, "Oh boy, how to get tangled up with this bunch." But Tracey and I have been friends for quite some time now, and we've worked on some projects. And I'm telling you, this girl does the heavy lifting, and she's not afraid to do it either. She gets it done, and I appreciate her and love her so very, very much. And then we have with us tonight the Hybrid Blues from New Zealand.
Hey.
We have Roy, we have Mike, and we have Adam.
How you doing?
And wow, ladies and gentlemen, when we tear the cover off this thing on the radio tonight at midnight, you are in for a treat. I've been listening to her music, I don't know, ever since they send it to me. And man, it gets better and better every time I hear it. So you're in for a real treat. Gentlemen, it's 1:00 in the afternoon on Sunday where you're at.
Yep.
And it's toward the end of winter. You'll soon be heading into spring and summer, right?
Yep. We're already into spring. Beautiful outside. Yeah.
Wow. So, gentlemen, tell me something. Let's start with you, Roy. You have a very interesting bio. You spent many years in England, I believe.
Yep.
And your music played throughout Europe. Give us a little bit about background about yourself.
Well, basically started writing just for self therapy more than anything. Solo artist, and then just went into duo work, and then just went a little bit off track and decided I wanted to do something completely different, and joined a metal group in the UK, and then eventually broke away from that and went back into the blues.
Can't get away from those blues, right?
No, you can't get away from the blues. No.
I love the blues.
Yeah, that's something very special about the blues. I mean, I think the most special thing about the blues is its simplicity, I think, more than anything.
About real life, right?
Yep, absolutely. And just keep it simple, and that's what the music's all about. So,
Mike, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, well, I've from New Zealand. I've travelled quite a bit and lived overseas quite a bit and pursued a career for a long time, and probably really only got back into my music in the last 20 years or so, or 15 years. That sounds like a long time, but been playing in a few covers bands and a few originals bands. But when Adam approached me about joining Hybrid Blues, I was familiar with the band, but not so much the music. And once I really had a good listen to it, I just found a real affinity to the lyrics, to the tunes, to everything. It was such a natural fit for me. I just fell straight into it. It was fabulous.
Adam, how about you?
Yeah, well, I've been playing since school, basically in school bands, jazz bands, orchestras, that sort of thing. Left school and into covers bands, as we sort of all do. Had a bit of a break for about 12 years while I had a family and kids grew up, but got back into it around 2012 and been in covers bands ever since. But always wanted to do some original music and get into something you could get your teeth into. And yeah, the opportunity came along for Hybrid Blues, and I'm here today.
Did I read correctly that your college music teacher had you play in the band? That's where you kind of cut your teeth at?
Basically, yes. A little band and just played locally in restaurants and parties and things like that. Yeah. It was sort of jazzy, bluesy stuff.
And Mike, you have a son that you play with also, right?
Yeah, that's my son's a classical pianist, but he plays keys in one of my covers bands, which is fabulous. Good fun for an old boy like me. Good fun.
Wow. Roy, you've been at this quite a few many years. When was it that you wrote your first song?
Oh, I didn't know, really. I don't know. I haven't really been going for that many years. I only really took up guitar playing because I thought while I was in the UK, I better return to New Zealand being able to play guitar because that's what we do down here. So I thought I better do that, and at the same time started writing music.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then there's Tracey. We'll come back to these guys in a second. Tracey's their manager. Tracey owns TAC, and I'll let her tell you what that is. And then I'm going to put this up here, and she can do with it what she wants because this just blows me away. Tracey has her own record label, and the Hybrid Blues is on this record label, SGNB Records, and that's the logo. And Tracey, I'll let you tell us what TAC is, and then I'll let you tell us what SGNB Records is.
Okay, well, years and years ago, I worked in music, some odd jobs here and there doing, I was an intern for a label and worked in a record store, was a DJ for college radio, and I just got the bug for working in music. I knew I wanted to do it in some capacity, not performing, but something. I just wasn't sure exactly what. Years went by. I worked odd jobs, and I got back to Colorado and basically out of work, kind of was in a situation where I had some time on my hands, and I thought, this isn't a bad time to maybe think about going back into music. And a musician friend contacted me looking for someone to book him. So I started doing that, and then it just kind of escalated from there. And I thought, let's try this, let's try that. And so it grew, and I ended up doing a artist management company, TAC Music Management, which is ideally what I like to do is that aspect of the industry. And so it's just kind of been growing ever since. I've talked to bands that I've been in contact with in Colorado and asked them, what would you like? If you could have a music service, what would you like to see in a music service, and things along those lines. And a lot of it I based on feedback and kind of, fixed my business to cater that direction. What do musicians need? What would help you guys? Things like that. And I just kind of went from there, and the independent label just kind of sprung up, but it's kind of something I've always wanted to do anyway. So that just kind of came about.
And so you created your own label.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which is this.
Mhm.
SGNB. I'm trying to pry it out of you because it just blows me away. It just blows me away. SGNB Records. Okay. And
Yeah. Some guy named Bob.
There it is.
There you
It is. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, she told me this afternoon. It was nah, she's not. No, no. Some guy named Bob. SGNB Records. I think that is absolutely amazing. Some guy named Bob record label. SGNB.
Yeah. Who do you work with? Who are you signed to? Some guy named Bob.
There you go.
Someone there somewhere.
We'll have to use that too.
So before I turn Ed loose, I have to ask you guys, how did Tracey and Hybrid Blues come together, find each other? What happened? Somebody tell me.
Just throwing things out there into the world, really. I mean, I think that's one of the hardest things, I think, for unsigned bands today, is to actually promote themselves and market themselves. And you have to go through so many different channels to throw your music out there and what you do. And then I guess in a way, if you believe in the music and you think the music's going to speak for itself, I think the more you throw it out there, sooner or later, I think someone's going to hear it and go, yeah, I like that. I'm going to grab that and go for it. So, and that's exactly what Tracey did, and we're grateful for that, definitely.
Yeah, I had their music in my email, and I took a listen. I listen to everything that comes my way. I mean, everything. And I listened to it, and immediately, it was one of those deals where I listened to it and I went, wow, I'm liking this, and they sent me just this little demo thing too, and it wasn't like full songs. It was literally just like a little 30-second intro of each of the tracks that were on this new album. But it gave me enough of a feel to where I thought, interesting. I like kind of where they're going with this. It's definitely hybrid. Let's see what else these guys can do. And, once they sent me some of the Roy's older stuff, and I was liking it. I thought, yeah, let's do this. These guys can go places, I think.
It didn't take long. It didn't take long to get that sweet feeling about their music, did it, Trace?
No. And like I said, it was little like clips of songs, then go to the next, then go to the next. And I'm, okay, I like this. And then I'm like, then I went to the next one, and I'm like, okay, this sounds cool too. And then I go to the next one. But all of them, it just gave me that kind of feel like I want to hear more.
You know what really impressed me about it was, I mean, from the first few notes, I was hooked. I knew it. I just knew it. And the music is, what's the word? Deep and rich.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And full of passion. And I mean, in a matter of microseconds, I knew it. This is really, really, really good. You guys really put together one fantastic group of tracks, and I mean that.
Thanks so much.
It's sensational.
It's about time you mean it, George.
I was just getting ready to be nice to you too, Ed. But anyhow,
Well, I need a raise, George.
Ed, go ahead.
Well, first, I wanted to ask you something that's way more important than everything George asked. Have you ever heard of? I was on a show earlier this year out of New Zealand called Teacher Chatter. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Well, thanks. All right. Okay. Well, that backfired.
Yeah.
Shoot. All right. So we have an American audience. We are going to at least, just on Facebook hit probably a couple thousand people within the next day that are going to see you on here, and probably many more from all the other different things we have going. Talk to us a little, if you could, just one of you tell me the difference between, because this is America. We kind of, we're so, politically charged here. We don't get a lot of chances to kind of hear too much about what's going on in the rest of the world. And so, we do hear things, but our media is so, let's say, addicted to Donald Trump that they can't talk about anything else. And it's amazing that he's still around, because I don't know if they could bother me that much. Heck, George just cusses me out and I'm crying myself to sleep. But so what's, for example, you guys are out of New Zealand. What's the difference between New Zealand and Australia?
The ditch between us.
Obviously, they're still in the continent of Australia, right?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, that's off to the side. I guess I got to play Risk again. I got to remember where everything's at.
Yeah.
So, so what's the difference? Is it very similar? Obviously, is it a colony of England?
I think the coolest thing about New Zealand is that it's just, we're just musically wise, we're stuck in a time warp. And even the radios and stuff, we're still playing Leonard Skinner. We're still playing all the classic songs,
Okay, so we do too, by the way.
Yeah, and I just think it didn't matter how many times I came backwards and forwards from the UK, nothing really changed. New Zealand never really changes. It's stuck in a time warp. Yeah,
that's interesting. Okay, and then the next question, you kind of answered a little bit of the next question. My next question for any of you is who is your favorite American band, or maybe name a couple bands that might be popular in New Zealand. and in New Zealand, is the music that's popular American music, New Zealand music, British music, somewhere else?
And we got a very good broad adoption of music from all over the world in New Zealand. We kind of like everything here, and we sort of developed our own sound, I think, to a certain extent, where you can almost say, well, that sounds like a New Zealand band. But we love it all, don't we?
We do.
How many people live in New Zealand?
5 million.
5 million now.
Okay, that's all right. And then land-wise, is it got a good amount of land, or is it just maybe like the size of a state in the United States?
It's about the same size as Great Britain or UK.
Okay. Well, they were able to take over. 3/4 of the world they took over, so you don't have to be big to be strong, I guess. So, and here we are all speaking English. Now, George speaks a little different English than most of us.
Yes, I have the Espenlaub language, because I'll tear up that English language, But
well, I got a final question for now, then I'll get back to me. But the other one is, all this, the new music. You guys said you're a little bit, I don't want to say the word stuck in a time warp when it comes to music, but which might be a good thing, I would think, in a sense, that music nowadays seems to be very much digital. People can make music with a good, Macintosh, or they call them Apple computers. They can get a good Apple computer, bam, it's got all the software, all the music, GarageBand, or the other things they have. And so what do you think about the digital music versus, what I would call actual music with musicians?
I seem to think the same. We call it actual music. The digital music is certainly different and appeals to a different audience.
Mm-hmm.
We're a bit more old school, and we appreciate original style music with real instruments.
So I see that you're at hybrid blues. What can you explain what that means?
We can be anything. We're hybrid. So I think you'll find that most of the songs that I sort of create and bring forward to the practice room and stuff is basically 3 or 4 chords. You can quite easily, a lot of the tunes, you could actually slow it down and throw it into a blues song, which we've done. So,
Yeah.
And so you guys are doing blues. What do you have anyone that you're kind of similar to, or you have a unique sound? Is there any blues singers that you say, you know what, I think we want to go that route, or this is like the one that we maybe pick up some things off of the most? Or
I think it's a mixture of things, but one of my biggest influences, I think, was Paul Rodgers from Free and Bad Company, and that's the kind of feel I feel in my head when I start writing songs and stuff like that, is that kind of thing. But then I have lots of influences from different genres, so Billy Joel, all those sort of guys, songwriting.
So Adam, was it you that started when you were 11, or was it you, Mike?
No, I started playing bass when I was 11 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute, George. I got a good question. It's really a
Okay.
hard hitting question.
Okay.
Do you guys like Crocodile Dundee?
Oh my God. You did not need to go there.
When I went to the UK, they used to always refer to Jack the Muss.
Oh yeah.
Warrior. Yeah,
Oh boy. Do you guys say the word mate? Good day,
yeah,
mate.
Yes, mate.
We do.
What is it again?
It's in
Yeah, mate.
it's in
Hey,
bloody.
mate.
Yeah, it's in
G'day, mate.
it's in bloody Americans, Ed. That's them crazy questions.
I know, right? I mean, listen, people from Britain, literally, when they come to the United States, if they come to school here from the United States and they're from Britain, it's considered English as a second language.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because we're not speaking good English. George, if George wrote a book, we'd have to have a translator.
That's right. That's right. It could be put in many different languages. It would take a
It would already be in many different languages.
Yeah. Mike, you or Adam, you started at 11, right?
Yeah.
Playing.
Adam did you?
And Mike, you started when you was like 14?
Oh, I was probably about 13. I found a guitar in my brother's wardrobe and thought, oh, that looks a bit more interesting than the violin I was currently attacking.
Oh, that's right. You was doing violin first, right?
A little bit. Yeah, I did a bit of piano. Yeah, but I found the guitar just the thing for me, and never really stopped playing it ever. Yeah.
One of the things in New Zealand schools is, I think it still is today, is we all start on the recorder.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here. My kid is actually doing that now. My ear.
Tracy,
Like a room full of recorders.
Yeah.
we raised 4 kids, and they're all big people now. We raised 4 kids. I got 11 grandkids and 3 great grandkids. But
Wow.
I remember when my kids, well, I don't know which one it was or how many of them there was, but they brought that thing home, and I said, what is that? It's a recorder. I said, what do you record on? Look, if you call it a recorder, I instantly think it's going to record something, right?
Right.
So then they had to do that, all whatever they did back then with that thing. But so a lot of the kids in New Zealand in school, they're inclined to have some kind of music training in school, or
Yes.
Yeah.
Very basic though. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's where I started as well. I went to I started playing trumpet in Taringa Boys College band, but I realized I was trying to work out, been going to a boys college, how do I get into the girls college? And the way in was a big band, so that's what I did. Yeah, and it worked.
Where there's a will, there's a way, Roy. Yes. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Tracey, you play piano, right?
I did.
You did.
I did.
Yeah.
When I was younger, yeah, I don't really play as much now. I have kind of helped my kids learn a little, but
You
I
know
don't
what
play like I used
always amazes me when I talk to musicians is they well, I play a little bit, and then I listen to their music and I'm thinking, yeah, right. You play a little bit. I'd really like to hear you when you play a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? But you know, and I say this out of the sincerity of my heart. When I first met you guys on camera this morning or this afternoon, whenever it was, the first thing I noticed was you're very humble. It's almost like you reached the age. Now, I'll be 72 this month. And so somewhere back along the way, I don't know when it was.
Woo! 72.
Yeah. If you'd be good, Ed, you might make it there.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not giving you much of a shot, but if you're really, really good, you know.
Yeah.
But now, where was I?
Well,
Anyway.
72, that means you were back way back. You were like winding the thing to get the car to move.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We was cranking it. Yeah.
Get the microphone.
Not winding.
Yeah, we had that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
See, Mike and them guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Morris Minor. Yeah. We had that.
Somewhere back along the way, you lay your ego down. And it just seems in reading about you guys, what I find interesting is Adam, you play with other groups.
Yes.
Mike, you play with other groups.
Yeah.
Roy, you played with other groups, and you probably gel in and jam with somebody every now and then. That's the part that I really like, how you guys can all mesh together, musicians to musicians, and there's no big ego, there's no big, you know, I mean, you always got a screwball in the crowd somewhere, but for the most part, I was impressed.
George, I don't think that. I think that was a slight over there, wasn't it?
No.
I saw you looking at me.
Oh, anyhow, I noticed that you're humble, and you're not, what's the word, puffed up. You're not puffed up.
I think that in all honesty, George, it's in our culture as well. We're taught as people to be humble and to not go overboard with your own self and try and look after each other more than anything. And I think that's in our culture. And once we start seeing signs of people starting getting a little bit full of themselves and stuff, other people tend to move away from them because they don't want that. They like the real feel of people, and if you know what I mean. So,
Yeah, that genuine, warm, fuzzy feeling. Yeah. That's so important. Let me ask you about this. With this, I call it the thing. COVID-19, but I call it the thing. When the thing fell down upon New Zealand, are you still locked down, shut down, partially shut down? I know you had to cancel a gig today. What's the situation like there in New Zealand?
Adam?
We have different levels of what we call lockdown, and in other words, restrictions that we have to abide by, mostly social distancing and wearing masks in certain places like public transport, buses, trains, etc. And limited numbers at gatherings, which is why we couldn't do the gig. Was because you're only allowed a maximum of 100 people, with social distancing in between that 100 people, like sort of 1 meter to 2 meters. So the size of the venues couldn't sustain it because of the restrictions. So it is a bit of a blow in that respect, but hopefully maybe next week we might hear whether the restrictions continue or whether or not we have to or can go back to lighter restrictions.
Be great to get back out there and start doing it and not have those restrictions. Yeah. The COVID-19 thing was great for me, George. Fortunately, I just joined the band and then I got locked down for 2 months, so I was able to spend 2 months being completely free to be creative and contribute to whatever I wanted to create for the band. It was quite fortunate timing for myself. Sometimes something good comes out of something rotten, I guess.
Absolutely.
All right, I got a point to make, George. It's more important than all this.
Okay. All right,
Adam. Anybody ever tell you look like Bono or anybody like that?
Yeah, well, his glasses are blue, mine are brown. Well, yeah. But I do. I have a condition which is why I have to wear these
Glasses.
Glasses. The same Bono has a similar condition as well.
Is that right? That's interesting.
He doesn't wear them to be cool.
See, I'm onto something, George.
I think it's more like you're on something, Ed.
About time you have a comeback, George. Jeez, I've tried to get you to have a comeback for years.
Yeah.
All right, what about Mike? Mike, why do you have the strongest accent? Or do you know that?
Oh, it's interesting. I wouldn't have noticed. I've kind of spent a bit of time living overseas in England and Australia for 12 years in Aussie and ended up back in New Zealand here. So I thought I'd have a bit of a mixture of
and what do you think the people there? You guys said you feel like, you like the humble culture. What do you think people think? I'll give you an example. There are some British guys. I was at Ohio State University when I used to attend college there, and these British guys were sitting at a table, and they basically, I forget how they said it, but it seemed like they thought they were like, here, and we were down here. What do you think that people in New Zealand think about the rest of the world?
Oh gosh. Tough question.
They didn't want to answer, George. I knew it.
We tend to just do our own thing. We don't really know what the rest of the world's doing.
Yeah, I would guess though that if you live in New Zealand, it's got to be very much. I would think, and I could be wrong, but I mean, aren't there? What's the land like? I mean, in terms of, is there a lot of things that that you better be aware of, and you better like snakes and gators.
Oh, no. I reckon the biggest thing is I think the biggest thing that Kiwis are quite happy with is that we're quite a way from everyone, so we get a lot of enjoyment of sitting back and watching everything happen. I think. I mean, it's kind of in a lot of ways we sort of sit there and go, well, yeah, thank goodness we're not all a part of that, all that stuff going on, So
yeah,
there's so much good in the world, and we're so lucky to be in a beautiful country that offers everything, landscape-wise and stuff as well. So yeah, people go there, in large numbers for tourism?
Yes,
they did.
Huge. Yeah.
Before the COVID.
Yeah.
The only time George toured was in Vietnam. He was touring Vietnam, he said, but it was the Vietnam War. But thanks a lot, George.
But I've been fortunate to have traveled a lot of America, and I adore America, especially New Orleans. That was one of my favorite places as well. But I know that you guys have got such a big variety in the country when it comes to landscape and all that sort of stuff. And we're lucky enough to have that in this country, even though it's smaller. So
that's pretty. And so, is it ever get cold there?
Yes.
What's
colder? There's snow on the mountains.
You get snow? Snow in New Zealand?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
There's not many places in the world where you can go surfing in the morning.
Yeah.
And then drive up a mountain and go skiing or snowboarding in the same day.
And
then have a barbecue tea.
Well, that's pretty cool. And within New Zealand, are there different accents and behaviors, patterns in different parts of it, or is it just small enough where it's pretty much the same all around?
Pretty much the same all around, yeah.
Okay, I know when I live in Ohio now. I lived in Florida for a year, and they thought I was from New York, and because Ohio, like New York, has a Dutch influence, so we have a Dutch accent. Yeah, and then if you go to the South, there's a Southern accent. If you've lived out East your whole life, there's an Eastern accent, and so. Yeah. And then if you live in New Jersey, you always point to your armpit. You say, "You're right here. You need to get over here." And then you might be getting over here, and they don't know any street names if you get lost. They're like, "No, you look at the clock. It's right over here." And then you go to the gas station, and it's so complicated to pump gas in New Jersey, they have to pump it for you.
That's how Oregon is too.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just nuts.
When you guys were talking about in New Zealand and kind of like watching things that take place in the world, it reminds me of being in an airport and sitting on a bench watching people. I always enjoyed that. That's what that reminded me of. You guys are like sitting on the bench watching people, and it could be quite entertaining at times, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Some of the things that you see and some of the things that you hear.
I think, to be quite honest, I think that's the reason why we caught COVID in the first place, is that we had time to watch to see what was going on in the other countries. Then we decided straight away we're going to close down. Unfortunately, the second bout that came about, we weren't ready for that. It actually came from within. So, and it's just one of those things. But yeah, we do have that advantage to actually sit back and watch and just observe what's going on, really. To be quite honest.
Yeah, not liable to panic generally. Or I think we're really laid back kind of a population that considers things carefully.
Well, I've already had COVID, so you don't need to panic. You'll be just fine.
Wow.
I think Ed has himself a severe case of brain damage.
Maybe it's from the COVID.
You've heard of brain damage? He has brain damage. That's more severe. He has a severe case of brain damage.
George, I'm going to pray for you, brother.
Okay. Do that. Tracey, when this thing launches tonight here in the States, it's already launched there in New Zealand and that part of the world.
Has it?
Grant messaged before saying he's the first to download it on Spotify.
Hey!
All right.
You're the first.
Where can people get your music? Can they get it right on hybridblues.com, or where can they get the music at?
It's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be on SoundCloud, Pandora, iTunes, any of the major streaming platforms. You'll be able to find it. Deezer, all of them. And then on the website, of course. Have to put it on the website.
Yes. I'm telling you, when this puppy is taking off the leash at midnight tonight, it's going to get some results. It really is.
It may not be on the website at midnight, but it'll be there eventually.
Whatever, Tracey.
Oh boy.
You don't need to sleep tonight, do you?
How long?
What's that? I don't even know what that is.
How long did it take you guys to put the music together, put the tracks down, and all these other things to make this final production?
Yeah, a lot of year making. No, it actually took a while because we had a few band changes.
George, this is 9:42 our time at night. You really think they have time to think this through?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. It's only.
Oh, that's right. It's on. Yeah. They're at tomorrow already. They're on Sunday.
That's right. That's right. It's Sunday afternoon there.
Dang it! No wonder why they're so much smarter than we are, George.
That's right. That's right.
And I'm thinking about going for a walk down the beach soon. So yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
So going back to what before we were rudely interrupted. How long did it take to put these tracks down and put this whole thing together, Roy?
The actual process was actually it took a while because we're obviously with COVID lockdown and everything like that. But once Mike joined the band and Adam joined the band, the process just fell together really quick. And the funny thing is, isn't it? Because when you write a song, you go in with an idea of it being a kind of a certain genre or certain sound. But when you get new people who come into the band and they add something to it, it changes, and it's almost like doing wine and stuff. It just ferments and it changes the whole thing, and it's just lovely the way this album's worked out with the different influences from the band members.
Yeah.
That's amazing how that chemistry comes together and things start to, like you said, ferment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that you brought that up earlier, I think, George, is that I think that's the secret. Well, if there is a secret, I think it's 1,000,000 to 1 to actually find a group of people that can come together and bring it together and come, I mean, you look at the Stones, you look at all those major groups. I mean, what were the chances of those guys coming together and producing Led Zeppelin, producing that sound, that, production?
Right.
It's incredible. I mean, I don't know how it works, or it just happens. So,
Seems very organic and natural to me. This band, it just fell into place, and it's a perfect fit for everybody. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got a question. It's way more important than George's. Your food you get and the clothes you get. When we get all of our clothes, almost none of it is made in America. So, what about your clothes? You get them? Are they all coming from Vietnam and China?
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, George wanted to know that because he's going to figure out where he's putting his investments now.
We do have some locally made clothing, but not much.
Okay. And hey, George, I got a thing down there. You see at the bottom there? If you can share that or play that. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if there's a play button on there, but that's their website, right?
Yep.
Let's see if there's okay. So going down. Yeah.
Yeah. And it gives all the band members and a little bio and.
Well, it says, let's chat. Who am I going to talk to?
Oh, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
It's got all the things and
got them. Let me keep that for a second.
I like that picture right there.
It's cool picture.
That was done locally, just down at the local crossing, because we wanted to try and obviously get the Hybrid Blues logo centralized on the crossing, because without knowing it, when the logo was actually made, it had the crossroads in the middle, and it was, wow, how did that happen? So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Pretty cool. Indeed.
And the crossroads obviously symbolizes everything about the blues, really.
Adam, when you joined the band, and Mike too, when you guys all hooked up together, and you first started to play, did you almost know immediately that, hey, there's something special here? I mean, without even saying any words, is there just a sense?
Yes, gel. Yeah, we did gel together quite well. I watched Mike play quite a lot in the bands that he was in, and I liked his style and got on well with him anyway. So when we were looking for a guitarist, I immediately thought of Mike, and I knew that we could play well together.
Yeah, I'm glad you did.
Yeah. And I knew we'd fit with Roy and his style and where he wanted the band to head. So it was a bit of an honor to have Mike actually come in and join. So Yeah.
And likewise, Adam's bass playing for me. You've been playing in a 3-piece for quite a while, Adam. So you have a very full style, which I really enjoy. Playing with. It's really good.
Mm.
Yeah.
Trace,
Perfect.
is there any plans after this thing lifts up off of us? Is there any plans somewhere down the road of bringing the guys here to the States?
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. that
That would be fun.
would be awesome. And they could come by the way of Delaware, and then I'll just get a hold of their coattail and follow them out to Denver. Because
we do get people up on stage as well, so be ready.
Oh boy.
I will come down and put you in the crowd with you too.
yeah,
Oh no, George needs that mosh pit stuff. You have to toss him in the crowd. He likes that.
sign me up for whatever it is. Just sign
We
me
can
up.
do that. We
Yeah.
can arrange that. Yeah.
Oh, this could be entertaining.
So I know that this thing is going to launch tonight here. Let me put this up here for people real quick. As soon as I find it. How come I can't never? There it is. That's where we're going to be on radio. And there's two ways that you're going to hear this. You can go to Spreaker.com/user/Espenblog, or you can come right back to the George Espenlaub show page, and immediately when we go live on the radio, it'll pop up on the George Espenlaub show page on Facebook, and you just click on that link and boom, you're there, and you can come in and join us. So we want people to come and join us. The chat room will be open. You come in there and we'll give you some virtual stale sandwiches. The only thing we ask when you come in is just kick your sandals or your shoes off, because everybody dances with their shoes off around here.
Oh, that's cool.
Don't
wait.
don't demonstrate, George.
Don't ask me why. It could have something to do with being here at the Funny Farm. You know that behind me, that's the Funny Farm. You know, so we have a whole list of characters, a whole lot of people here.
George.
Huh?
I want to know how you kept your wife all these years.
She kept me, Ed, for 52 years.
What did she see?
I'm adorable.
Oh,
Yeah.
We can see that, George. We can see that.
Yeah, right.
well, you ought to hear him when he gets. He still has Vietnam flashbacks. Every time someone knocks at the door, he's diving under the bed and everything. I'm like, God, George, we're talking about the '60s, okay? Get over it.
So you guys cut this and put this out. It's ready to launch. Are you already working on something new?
Yeah, we've got a few things lined up that we want to get involved with next year. Like I said, I was in the big band when I was younger, and we'd like to get involved with our local jazz festival in Tauranga as well. So we were thinking of putting a brass section together, a horn section, and just adding it to a few of the older songs we have that aren't on the album, but we could probably remix and put them onto the next album as well.
Oh man, you get that horn section in there.
Oh,
I mean, things really come alive. I mean,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
boy, I just get excited thinking about that. Man,
Too.
Yeah, so there's that sort of thing, and we're also looking into sort of different sounds as well that we can create through our music, worldly sounds and world music as well. So it'd be nice to bring that sort of thing mixture in.
you know, Ed was talking about how people make music nowadays off of their off their software and all this other stuff. I always call that music in a can.
Mm.
I like that authentic, get down, foot tapping, finger snapping, head bobbing, booty shaking stuff.
But
Yeah.
don't, hey, George, that's an image I don't want to think about.
I think most people do, George. I think that's what people really like. Keep it real.
That's right. That's right.
it.
That's what people want to see. Yeah, people want to
Be
see
able to perform it live.
real. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's why when we do live radio, we do these live streams and stuff. People get the blemishes, the bloops, the bleepers, the blops. You know, the whole 9 yards. But it's real. It's real.
I think that's the secret, and I think that's probably why we still love a lot of the bands from the 60s and 70s. It's because the whole thing was real to us, and it still is, and obviously it still appeals to people and to today. So it's, you know, that's what we're trying to create as well.
Yeah, I always say that's when music was music. That was real.
Yeah.
You know, my mom and dad used to watch Lawrence Welk.
So do mine.
Yours too, Tracy?
Mine did too. Oh my God, every weekend.
Every Saturday
I still
night.
can picture the bubbles and all.
Yeah. and if I walked into the living room, it was either sit down and be quiet or go somewhere.
Yeah. Lawrence Welk is on.
Yeah. And don't stand there trying to decide which way you're going to go too long, because then you're going to make somebody mad, and they might help you along with your decision real quick. But
that was fine with me though.
Lawrence Welk and that guy playing the piano, and then the sisters that was all singing, and then Lawrence Welk himself getting out there and doing the polka with the audience.
Yep.
Well, lo and behold, one day I was flipping through channels. It's been quite some time ago, flipping through some channels, and lo and behold, there was Lawrence Welk on. I mean, he's dead and gone, but I mean, it was a replay of it. And you know, I stood there for, I don't know how many minutes it was, and I watched, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And then I shook myself real quick, and I said, Espenlaub, get yourself right, because there was a time when you was a kid that you didn't want to even hear. Look at that stuff.
I know it.
You know, and I'm thinking, oh boy. But I said all that to say this: going back to music, you know, way back, whether it's bluegrass or you know, the banjos and all those other things, we can learn from all that music.
Yeah,
that has come from the past, can't we?
Yep, I think so. And one thing before we finish too is we'd like to say, because we're quite humble about everything and stuff, we don't really try and sort of push out questions normal bands would do for media interest and stuff. But what we'd like to actually put out there is that if somebody has an interest in any of our songs or have a question, we'd love to hear from them. We'd love to answer their questions on the certain songs, because we know there have been certain songs through our past that we've related to, and just to have that sort of communication with people would be great. So if you have any questions about our music, if there's something that you'd like to know more about that music, please just get in touch with us, and we'll try and answer it for you.
And there isn't there a section on your website? As they scroll down, isn't there a place there that you can ask questions or make comments or something?
I think the main place is Facebook, because we're always on Facebook and we're always there to answer questions. So if you have any questions about any of the songs, even if you love the song, even if it gives you something, please just let us know, because that's why we do it, and that's why we still love music from the past. It's because it still gives us that satisfaction, and that, you know, we can be a part of all that sort of stuff, you know. So
yeah. Go to Facebook, just type in the little search thingy there, Hybrid Blues, and boop, up they'll come. And you can ask all your questions, and Tell
and
them,
we'll answer.
and tell them that you got that warm, fuzzy feeling, because I'm guarantee you're going to get a warm, fuzzy feeling, and it won't take too many seconds. Once you hear, you're going to say, man, this is good. It's like eating a big bowl of Wheaties. They taste so good. You just keep chomping away.
You can't stop.
Guys, listen, I thank you for your time. I appreciate your music. I thank your humility. Thank you for your humility. I really do. I wish you only the best. Roy, you've got my Skype number. Anytime, brother, you give me a call. Anytime at all. And I'll answer that, and we'll just chat.
So you can answer the phone after all.
Yes, I can. It's just when I see Ed Temple on there that I hesitate.
That's what I just figured out. Thanks, George.
Honesty is the best policy, Ed. Always remember that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Adam, the best to you. Mike, the best to you.
Thanks, George.
And you're in good hands with Tracey.
Mm.
She's going to do right by you. I know she will. And I'm excited about this. And I think we're going to hear great things about it. I really do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, George.
We're going to have some fun.
Ed, do you have any final comments?
No, George, after you said you were going to shake your butt, I kind of got disturbed.
You're still stuck on that.
Oh, yeah. I was like, just imagine. Oh, no. Take it back. I don't want to imagine that.
Now remember, Mom and I danced one day on a live.
Oh, yeah.
And you danced on screen.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. and we'll have to bring that back up some night.
No.
For people, just to let them know we're for real.
Just humiliate me. Thanks, George.
Yeah, this will be used against you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see what this person here said. I bet that's one of Mike's relatives or something that are not.
Just keep the work there, George.
Fan buddy test tick interview, guys.
Is that somebody from New Zealand?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Don't say it.
Yeah, fan buddy
right?
test tick interview, guys. That
All right. That's
if I'm reading that right, that's good.
Yeah, that bloody word is no longer used to be a cuss word. Now it no longer is, right?
Oh, no.
Still a cuss word?
No, yeah, and there is a song that we've got bloody in the word in the song as well.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, super true.
Fan buddy test tick.
Go with the flow.
Fan buddy.
The good thing is, George, I can cuss you out using the bloody word. You'll never.
See, we learn something new all the time, Ed.
Hey, it's good stuff.
That's right. Tracey, bless your heart for putting up with all of us tonight. So listen, at midnight tonight, 10 o'clock Tracey's time out there in Denver, her and I are heading for the radio, and we're going to open up this little package, and we're going to let her rip.
Okay, so when you guys go platinum, you're coming back on, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure, man. No
All right.
problem.
Good.
Yeah.
Might as well,
We will have you back if you'll come back.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Thank you very much.
All right. Guys. Had a wonderful time. I hope you did too. God
Yes,
bless
thank
you.
you.
And we'll talk at you later, fellas. Thank you so very
Thanks,
much.
guys. Good job.
Take care, guys.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for coming on. You guys are great.
Hey, Tracy. Bye.
See you.
See you, mates.
See you later. Hey, Mike.
Nobody wants to go.
Tracey, thank you so very, very much. And I gave you the call-in number, and I'll hook up with you about 10 minutes till 10 your time, right?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, I got you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends, Romans, and countrymen, whether you're down the street, around the corner, across America, or somewhere around this great big world, and that includes in New Zealand, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time. Listen, get those watch parties started. Get this thing pushed out there further and further and further and further. Get it into your news feed, into your sister's news feed, into anybody's news feed that they'll let you put in their news feed. How about that? Don't make me say that again. But thank you so very, very much for being a part of this, whatever this was tonight. I had a great time. These fellows from New Zealand, they are special. I'm telling you. And then there's always Tracey. She's very, very special. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Help us push this out even further. And until next time, we've got a full week of it next week. Trust me, we got a full week of it. Guests from all walks of life. Until next time, may God keep you right in the center of his hand. Good night, everybody.
All right.
All right.